Hey there, it's Sunday night, and after an unintentional week off, we're back at DM Cluster. Tonight we've got Amina,
Hi.
and we've got Brandon.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we are doing the animated movie The Incredibles, which is just one of my absolute favorite animated movies, if not just movies of all time, period. It's kind of an interesting thing that they've done with this movie. It's that it's made more like a live action movie than most animated movies. There are scenes where these characters are just doing very mundane things like sitting in a car and talking, which is something you don't see very often in animated films, and it works. It works really well. This movie it's about so much more than just a story for children. It's about the relationships between these people. The backstory is basically there are these superheroes. They're called supers. They're people that in this reality have special powers, and they use those powers for crime fighting or whatever. And in the course of saving the day, one person decides that they're going to sue one of the supers. This kind of opens the floodgates, and people just start suing superheroes for saving them all the time. And the government has to pay for all this, so they decide no more supers, and the supers have to go into hiding, basically. And these characters have to basically live normal lives, even though they're capable of these incredible things. And it's about the day-to-day struggle that they go through to do these things, about the mundaneness of, going to work, sitting in traffic, coming home, family dinner, problems with the kids in school, things of that nature, things you don't normally see in an animated movie. And on top of that, it's a superhero movie. And that's one of my things. It's like I love watching stories about superheroes when they're not being super, and that is what this movie is all about. So I'm pretty excited about talking about it tonight. Amina, any thoughts on the film?
It's the animated version of The Watchmen, only with like less giant blue wang.
No joke.
I liked it. It's not one of my favorite Pixar movies, but I do like it. Honestly, it's very character driven, of course. With each person having their distinctive character and superpowers. But the kids kind of ruin this movie for me.
Really?
I don't like the kid characters at all.
At all?
At all.
That surprises me. Why? What don't you like about them?
Well, that shy girl with like the long dark hair. Who the hell likes that? No, It's just like the kids were just annoying. They're just annoying. They. It's not as if that's not realistic or anything, but every time they're on screen, I'm like, they're just annoying. I would like them to go away.
Well, that was one of her powers. She could be invisible. You didn't have to see her.
That would be nice. I'd like that superpower.
All right, what about you, Brandon?
Well, before I ask my question, are we still playing that game where we have to drink when we talk about Blue Wang?
Oh, jeez. You weren't here for that.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, when we did The Watchmen, we had the Blue Wang drinking game. Every time it got mentioned, we had to take a drink.
Yeah, and it got mentioned a lot.
Oh, I wish I would have been here for that.
But anyway, back
one
on
of
the
these all
subject.
smashed.
Yeah, really.
I'm actually in agreement with Amina. I didn't get attached to the characters. It was too predictable. Don't get me wrong. I actually like the movie itself, but for the opposite reasons that you like it for. I just like it for the action. That's pretty much it.
I actually find that kind of surprising because this movie is, you've got the story of the couple, right? You got, Bob and Helen. They're the Incredibles. You see them dealing with their day-to-day life issues. The problems that occur when they don't stick to the rules, when they don't abide by the new laws and, break cover. We also see, Bob in this mundane job, and and he's just hulking character working for this little minute thing, who is like a really great character in my opinion, his boss. But it really underscores, like, it's in a strange way they made the superhero the everyman. and I think that's a really good way of telling a story. And each of these characters actually has their own story. So I'm really surprised that you guys didn't like this that much.
I spent the whole movie trying to figure out the sex life between Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl.
Well, she is Elastigirl.
And he is Mr. Incredible.
Yes.
And that kind of distracted me the whole movie.
Well, they allude to that a little bit in the beginning when she tells him he needs to be more flexible.
Yeah.
Wow, she's flexible enough for the both of them.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could Google something, but I haven't done that.
That's actually something that's really strange. When I was doing some research on this, there is this whole little weird sexual subculture about Elastigirl.
I'm sure. Why wouldn't there be?
But there's these people take screenshots of the movie where she's looking at her ass, when she's lying on the beach. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then there's some there's a picture right there. And there's a lot of fan fiction art, which is just weird.
I don't doubt it.
It's not like anime freaky kind of it's not tentacle porn or anything, but there's a lot of I found pinup drawings of Elastigirl, which I just find completely strange, and I don't know how these people sexualize these characters at all, because they don't even look human. I mean, their body shapes, they don't have normal body shapes.
Oh no, I've seen Elastigirl's body shape before, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It doesn't work well in real life.
And it's just I don't know. That's a subculture I'm never gonna understand. The whole Sailor Moon group.
Don't dig too far into the internet.
But yeah. So I unfortunately ran into a lot of that. One of the things I really enjoyed about this is all the different relationships that they did explore. You had the brother-sister relationship, the child-parent relationship, the friend relationship between him and Frozone.
Frozone was cool. I'll give this movie that.
Yeah, Frozone would be my favorite character.
Yeah, and Samuel L. Jackson was the perfect choice for that character.
Well, yeah.
What was interesting is I found that the character motion that he uses when he's in his superhero outfit and skating around is actually based on an Icelandic Olympic speed skater. So it's kind of this weird combination of uber white and Sam Jackson.
Why not?
But some of the things that they do, even the relationship between Frozone and his wife, who you never actually get to see, it's for comic effect, but it's interesting. There's this just moment where the city needs to be saved, and Frozone wants to jump into action, and she's put his suit away, and he doesn't know where it is, and just this typical couple stuff. And that is something I really appreciate in stories like this.
One thing about this movie, though, is that much like Krull, it didn't have to happen. None of the things in this movie had to happen if you would have just have been nice to that dude at the very beginning. When Syndrome comes up as a little kid and wants to be the sidekick, if you'd have just been nicer and explained why he doesn't need a sidekick and just been really nice to that kid, he wouldn't have grown up to be an evil superhero. Which makes you wonder how many people you pissed off in your life that are actually going to grow up to be super villains now, I should say.
Oh man,
villains,
I would love someone to call me and be like, I'm a supervillain.
You have no idea how many supervillains that has spawned throughout the different universes. Marvel, DC, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Just one little incident of being a bastard.
See, I want a supervillain in real life. See, I considered being a criminal because I lived in Miami, and I didn't go that route because it was if I was going to be a criminal, I wanted to be a supervillain. I didn't want to rob banks. I wanted to hold small countries for hostage.
I always had those moments where it's I wanted to destroy humanity growing up, but it's I either wanted to, build a Skynet or build a virus that would destroy everything, and I'm just way too lazy for either one of those, and that's the only reason I'm not a supervillain.
Yeah, it's all the effort involved.
I know. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Speaking of Skynet, there's a company in Japan.
China. Oh,
In Japan,
Japan.
they have made, and it actually works. It's like a robotic suit that a person will wear if they were disabled, paralyzed or something, and it reads your brainwaves and it allows you to walk
Oh, there's
and
actually
do daily
China
tasks.
actually has an intranet called Skynet over there.
yeah,
They
The
named
company in Japan is called Cyberdyne.
nice. But there's actually several companies that are pioneering stuff like that. I recently saw an article, I believe it was on Google Plus, about a woman who was able to control a robotic arm, using a brain implant.
Yes, I want that. I want to
Yeah.
be cybernetic
Exactly.
right now.
Right now? All right, hold on.
I would imagine it's going to be a lot more common in the next 20 years.
Yeah, when it's too late for us to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, because they're gonna find the cure for aging and stuff like. We'll be fine.
Okay.
You just gotta hang out another couple decades. Just don't play it safe, man.
As long as it doesn't include putting my head in a capsule of liquid.
Head in a jar. It
Yeah,
works
what's
on
wrong with
Futurama.
that? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
We'll feed you little fish pellets.
Like, and then Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You got Darth Maul. They just cut him in half, and gave him robotic legs. He's cool.
Why not?
Eh. Well, I could deal if I had robotic parts. I just mean just my head, like in Futurama, where they're just heads. They don't have a body.
Yeah, but they got a spinal cord. You just plug shit in and just make up whatever you want.
I just want a Lucy Lou bot.
Now, some of the things.
Hold on. Let me. Continue.
Some of the things I actually did enjoy in the movie were some of the creations that they came up with to fight the Incredibles with.
Not like the 0 point energy.
Yeah. Well, like,
Yeah,
or
those are great.
the
All the
giant
bots.
spider thing.
Giant spider thing.
The different
Whatever-
versions of the bot that destroys them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that's interesting about the zero energy concept is it's real. It's something they're actually exploring. It's based on an actual scientific concept. The idea is for energy, for clean energy, not for what Syndrome uses it for. But the interesting thing about that is not only is it real, Brad Bird came up with the idea before he knew it was real. And in the course of writing this stuff, found out it was real, and just kind of, that blew his brain up for a little while. The robot was interesting, and I actually had this discussion with Dante. When they're fighting the robot to me is one of the characters.
That end fight scene is good.
Yes, and in my opinion, the robot sort of has like a face. He's got the big eye on top, and he's always seems to be missing the arm that's facing you. So that's like kind of like a nose, right? When Mr. Incredible destroys it the first time, he makes 2 holes in the top there after he rips off the one eye on top, which kind of makes, again, 2 eyes, like a face. It just, to me, I thought they went out of their way to make this a character in the film, and I really appreciated that. One of the other interesting things is I watched this movie with the commentary, and I fucking hated the commentary because I like this story so much, and they did not once talk about the story in the commentary. All they did was talk about the animation. And yes, the animation was phenomenal, and they did groundbreaking things, and it was really interesting stuff and visually incredible. But I was like, there is actually a story going on here. Talk about the story. So it's kind of like the reverse of Frailty, like where the movie just didn't do anything for me, but once I watched the commentary, it's like, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. This was like, man, I really enjoyed this movie, and then I just wanted to smack Brad Bird for not talking about the movie, just talking about the animation.
This is one of those movies that everyone's clamoring for a sequel to, obviously because of how it ends. But
Right. And I believe they are in the works. It's not a lock, but I know they are working on a project that involves The Incredibles. It could be something that ends up being like an animated series. It could be just an animated short. I don't know that they're going to do a whole another feature film, but I know they've been working on it. So I'd be interested in seeing that. I think that'd be something really fun to watch. And I'd like to see. I know you said you hate the kids, but I'd like to see how they evolved in their powers. Because that's another part of the story. It's them coming to terms with actually being able to use their powers. They spend all this time suppressing that.
If they did a sequel, I would hope that they make the kids a little older, like 2 to 3 years each.
Well, yeah, this isn't The Simpsons, where they stay the same age for 20 years. Yeah. I imagine they definitely age the children, and Jack would be involved, because I don't really see how they could do anything with his powers with him being a baby.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of an interesting thing. But some of the other stuff about this film is there's like real commentary in the movie when in the car ride when Dash is talking to his mother about getting in trouble in school. He says he wants to be special, and she says everybody's special, and he turns around and says, which is just another way of saying that no one is. And then they echo that again at the end with Syndrome. Kind of makes a similar statement. It talks about there's like this emphasis on not making people feel bad now. Like Little League games. I think this is fucking idiotic. Little League games, everyone gets a trophy.
Yeah, that is bullshit.
And that's something that I think they're commenting on in this film. There's the argument with Bob and Helen where they talk about letting him play sports, and him saying that he would be incredible, her saying that we can't let him do that, he's kind of talking about his son, but he's also talking about himself. There's a lot of real good subtext in this movie, but I keep coming back to, I can't believe you guys didn't like it.
Well, I
don't know. It was too predictable for me. I mean, I knew he's not going to get hurt. Oh, he's not in trouble. He'll get out. He'll get it was always something.
Well,
it's so black and white too. It's like good guys, bad. It's like.
Well, I mean, at its core, it is still a children's movie. They're not going to kill Mr. Incredible or anything like that.
No, but Up was a good Pixar movie. That's a kids movie, but it had a lot of deeper things to it. It wasn't black and white at all, really.
Yeah, very different target audience, I would think. I don't think the Up crowd is really the Incredibles crowd. Up was a different kind of movie, which I'm surprised that's not on our list. But a lot of people really, really enjoy that movie. I thought it was okay.
I cried in the first 10 minutes.
The last movie that I saw that I really enjoyed that was like this was probably one of the Shrek movies. I really enjoy the Shrek movies.
Really? I thought the only good one was 1.
I liked 1, 2 was good, and I don't even bother with the rest of them.
Yeah. Are there more than 3?
Yeah.
I think there's 4.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything past the second one. Shrek was another one. It was a groundbreaking film at the time. And there's only so much you can do with that story, I think. And that's kind of the same thing with this one. I couldn't even if they made a sequel, I don't see it going beyond that because there's not that much story to tell. After a certain point, it just kind of gets repetitive and mundane. That's not something you want to do to this universe.
Unless they make a TV show.
If they make a TV show, then you have a lot more to work with because they can kind of expand the storylines of all of the characters and do lots of things that you really can't do in a 2-hour film.
Well, 2 of the characters I really liked here were actually minor characters, and that's Edna, the costumer, and Mirage, the white-haired chick that was like the sidekick of the supervillain.
Oh gosh,
I did like her.
Yeah. What'd you like about him, Mina?
Well, Edna just had so much personality to her. She was this little bitty spitfire, basically, and had her own complete opinions, and she wasn't listening to you. And I wanted to see more of her. I thought that would have been awesome. And I liked the Mirage character just because she had more depth than I think anybody. And she's one of those characters I wanted to know more about her. I want to know why she was in that position to begin with. Yeah,
and what was interesting about that character is she's actually based on a real costume designer that worked in film for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually thought that Edna was based on an actress, I believe she's in NCIS. I can't remember the actress's name right now, but she looks like a real actress, the character. And when I found out that she was voiced by Brad Bird, I was really surprised. And Edna, it turns out Edna was a cross between German and Asian.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
I
nobody
want to
else.
see that in real life.
Yeah, nobody else could voice the accent that he was looking for. So he ended up doing it himself, which I think worked out pretty well. The interesting thing about Mirage, I was talking about this with Dante, and it was something I actually thought about when we were watching Memento, is it turns out I really dig her voice. Elizabeth Pena.
Elizabeth Pena is, yeah, I like her.
Yeah, but when just hearing her voice, I mean, there's nothing attractive to me about the Mirage character, but close my eyes, that's a whole different story. I mean, she's got a great voice, a very seductive voice.
Yeah, it's like kind of sultry, like deep. Oh, yeah.
Right, and that was actually kind of an interesting thing with her too, where they give her this little, she says she's attracted to power, which obviously at the time they're talking about Syndrome, but then you see her sort of have this thing for Mr. Incredible as well, which makes for a wonderful scene where she frees him and he hugs her for letting him go and telling him that his family is safe, and then Helen shows up and sees them hugging.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh yeah, there's the picture right there. I mean that's a great moment in the movie. She's like, "Oh, you must be Mrs. Smack."
Yeah, just saved everybody and just gets her ass kicked for it.
Linda Hunt is the actress that I was talking about, and she looks a lot like Edna. She's like 4'4".
Linda Hunt was the shout out from the first Dune movie with David Lynch.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm so happy everyone got that.
You're like, what?
Ah.
What's Dune?
Why is that not on our list?
That should be on our list, yeah.
Well, you guys have authority.
Maybe
I am not. I like Dune, but I am not this mega fan like everyone else I know. Like it's like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. It's like, no, it's all right.
I like the original movie the best.
Yeah, I like the original more than the remakes, but the books.
I didn't watch the remakes. I've only read the first book.
Good. Don't watch the remakes.
I hadn't intended it. So back to The Incredibles. So this movie, to me, just seems like they took the experience of every day. They took, it's a family movie. It's a superhero movie. It's a relationship movie. It's a coming-of-age movie. I mean, there's just so much going on, and they do it all really well. It all works together. It all ties in. None of it seems forced. I think they did a wonderful job in the writing. The voice actors are incredible. Speaking of the voice actors, Jason Lee was the voice of Syndrome, and he recorded all of his lines for the movie in 2 days or 4 days, something like that. I can't remember. Then Craig T. Nelson, who was Mr. Incredible, 4 years to record his lines.
I read that, yeah.
Dear God, why?
I don't know. Now, granted, he's in the movie a lot more. He's the main character, and there may have been a lot of rewrites, but 4 years versus several days.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Well, Jason Lee's a Scientologist, and they can get stuff done better than mere mortals.
Oh boy, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I thought Craig T. Nelson did a very good job with the voice acting here. I also thought that John Goodman would have done well there too.
Yeah, John Goodman would have been a good voice there. Holly Hunter did incredible as Helen, I believe, and I think they did a really good job of making her his equal, even though she was so much smaller than him.
Well, there's actually a lot of feminist problems with this movie.
You think so?
Say that. Oh, there's all over the internet. Yeah, feminists have an issue with this movie because there's scenes where Mr. Incredible isn't listening to his wife, and the kids, listen to him more than her, and yeah,
It's normal.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But apparently it's a big deal.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because there's actually a deleted scene where Helen defends being a housewife and a homemaker. It's actually I actually got turned on to that by my sister. My sister saw this movie and she got the special edition and saw the outtakes or the deleted scenes rather, and she basically is at a barbecue, and there's two like groups of women with the families and children, and then the working women. And one of the working women says, I actually want to have a life. I want my life to mean something. And Helen just kind of goes off on her. She's like, "You think raising a family doesn't mean anything?" And she goes on she gives this big speech about what it's like to be a homemaker and a mother, and the sacrifice involved. So the fact that there's I guess the fact that they took that out of the movie says it leans towards your whole feminist problem. But one of the things that they actually did say in the commentary is when they're having that argument towards the beginning of the film, a lot of people had problems with just the size difference, like how threatening Mr. Incredible seemed to her when he was yelling at her. And that's the reason they made her kind of like use her power and stretch up to tower above him to let him know it's like, hey, I'm not a pushover, buddy. It's like, it's like we are on the same, equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually went out of their way to not have feminist problems.
I didn't read too much and everything.
I want to say I don't, for me, see any feminist issues with the movie. Outside of deleted scenes, of course, but it's just normal stuff you see in everyday life. I mean, guy not listening to his wife, big deal. That happens.
Duh.
Well, and it's a little more pronounced though because he's in a rut. He's stuck. He's distracted. Even when he's sitting with his family, he's not there. So they're talking, and he's not just not listening to her. He's elsewhere.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So it's like I don't think it's a statement on their relationship or on their marriage or on society in general. It's a statement on the place where he is in his life. And so I find that them having problems with that kind of silly.
Who knows?
Well, I'm sorry you guys didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I love this movie. I watched it over and over and over. And I will continue to watch it over and over and over. I love this movie. I recommend it to anyone, animation and non-animation fans alike. And just to me, it's just an all-around good film. If you just want an action flick, apparently, according to Brendan, that's
no
a good one too.
No capes.
No capes. That's right.
No capes.
Yeah, I mean, I like the movie itself, but just not as much as you did. I liked it more so for the action and probably Ozone, because Ozone was a cool character.
You mean Frozone?
Or, sorry, Frozone. Forgot the FR. Shut up.
It's just, I don't know. I could go on and keep saying how good it is and how much you guys are missing it, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to go ahead and pick our next film. So we're going to get Dante involved. And we have Dante. He's having trouble with his balls.
Again. Hey, look, there we go.
Alright, what do we got here?
Oh, something? 63?
67.
67, that was close.
It's pretty much the same movie.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to have the exact same conversation next week.
Uh-oh.
It is...
American Gangster.
I've
Yes.
never even heard of this movie.
You've never heard of it? It's a Denzel Washington film.
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably why I've never heard of it then, huh?
And no, it's got what's his face? Gladiator.
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe.
He's in that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's not a unpopular or a. It's not a nothing movie.
No.
So yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. So I'll.
So wait, how are we having the exact same conversation next week?
That was sarcasm.
Oh,
Do I need to use slashes in front?
sometimes, yeah.
Slash sarcasm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. Next week we're doing American Gangster. We just wrapped up The Incredibles. Hope you guys enjoyed it. On behalf of Brandon, Dante, Amina, myself, that's a wrap.
And don't forget to check out our site, www.themcluster.net.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Or if you want to follow along with our antics when we're not in front of the camera, you can check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter by searching for the M Cluster. Or you can leave comments in the field below. Or you can send us an email or give us a call. Heck, you can even write us a letter. Or you can buy us dinner. Or you could buy us a car. That would be awesome. Or you could send us on vacation. Or get us an Emmy. Ooh, a Tony. If you could get us a Tony, that would